Welcome, my brothers, to November 1st, the beginning of No Nut November. And as much as I celebrate holding on to our sexual energy, I actually have a bone to pick with No Nut November. And actually the whole no fap movement, the whole semen retention, repressing, retaining, restraining, no fapping, no this, no that. It's all these negative based approaches to our sexuality, which, in my opinion, it shoves all the energy down, which has got to go somewhere. It's going to come out sideways in other areas, and that can be manic behavior, that can be hypersensitivity, that can be irritability. Yeah, you can have all sorts of medical complications actually that a lot of guys aren't aware of, especially as you go beyond, a month of semen retention, 2 months. Depending on your makeup of your body, there are actually legitimate health risks to this. So it's not some sort of panacea cure-all, but it is a powerful energy. And you will notice, I do recommend guys at least trying out, a couple weeks and finding your edges with it. But we do have to be careful about just continuing to shove this energy down and down and down. It can also lead to just numbing, like if you don't use it, you lose it. And your whole sex drive can implode, your sensitivity can all go down, which is fine. If you want to be a monk and go live on a mountain, like that's an option. But I don't think that most guys practicing No Nut November or semen retention are looking to become abstinent or monks. And that's okay if you are. There is another option, and this is what my whole purpose jumping on here is to teach about and all the work I do, and that is what I like to call semen intention. And this is learning how to circulate the energy throughout the body using ancient Taoist and tantric practices. There are really subtle pathways in our entire body that can actually channel and move this sexual energy. We as men can have non-ejaculatory internal orgasms. And it does take practice. It does take, discipline. I like to call it blisscipline. Self-pleasure practices, creating regular places to practice different types of breath work, nervous system regulation, different guided visualizations and tools to start to open up these subtle pathways, many of which move through the spine to the tips of the fingers, the nervous system. And as you go deeper into this work, you can begin to cultivate this sensitivity and this ability to move the energy from your cock, from your balls, from where it's all built up. When you have an ejaculation, it's actually a sympathetic nervous system response. So what's happening is your whole body is just contracting, trying to hold that energy in. And as you get to the point of ejaculation, it's like the energy shoots out, right? And you're empty. And that's a powerful thing. I'm all about beautiful ejaculatory orgasms, not against those at all. But there are effects to that. You do drain your system. You do notice if you start practicing semen intention that you'll have way more energy, you'll have way more clarity, sex drive, sensitivity in sex, and just intuition in the world, more creative energy, because this is our creator energy. We can literally make a replica of ourselves, with an egg. There's nothing more godlike we could do on this planet than create a baby. If you think about it, it's creator energy. And this energy can really fuel. If you're not making babies, it can be fueling your creations in your business, and your music, art, anything that you're creating is just amplified. Your creativity just explodes with this energy. Not to mention just the levels of pleasure, not just in the bedroom, but in day-to-day life. There's this underlying sense of pleasure that just starts to permeate every moment of every day. And I'm even feeling it right now as I'm talking about it. The longer you're in this and the deeper you go into it, the more you begin to feel it. And especially when it's combined with tools and practices like Qigong and some of the practices we cover in our trainings, you can start to just feel it in the most subtle moments. And it brings you into deeper presence, and it brings you into a level of what I like to call just lovemaking with not just your partner, but with life itself. This energy will also, as you hang on to it, as you allow it to circulate, as you learn to regulate your nervous system with levels of energy, of the sexual energy, and allow it to just sort of spread wherever it wants to, instead of being hyper-focused in this one neural pathway of like getting out a quick one and like looking at porn, getting this huge dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin hit. The more that you tune into the subtle and allow this reprogramming to occur, the depths of pleasure open up beyond what you could ever experience with an ejaculatory orgasm. Which is good news for those of us who are, like I have a long history of being addicted to porn. I know many of us do. But for those of us who are coming from that pattern of just not being able to control this energy, constantly depleting ourselves and just it causing problems for us, isn't it beautiful that instead of just shoving it down and resisting it and fighting it, because what we resist persists, isn't it beautiful that we could actually have practices to consciously move it in a aligned way? And in doing so, in bringing integrity to our sexual energy, to our, deepening our ability to hold it, we actually experience more pleasure than we did before. This is the key. Pleasure can be the portal to growth, to deeper levels of sexual alignment and coherence within all parts of ourselves. And I could go on and on. There's just so many benefits to these practices, but I just wanted to hop on here and give a little bit of perspective that I hope is fresh in this space, during the beginning of No Nut November. So I hope you've enjoyed this podcast and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Sending you all big love. Happy No Nut November. Happy Semen Intention. We're retaking it. Not Semen Intention. Let's say No Nut November. What can we make it into? Happy Pro Nut November. Yeah, that's it. Happy Pro Nut November. All right, y'all. Send big love. See you soon.